another massive round in the AFL, round 8, and some beauties this weekend. Can't wait to talk about it with these two absolute legends. Firstly, to my life, I'm going to start pushing this man's All-Australian claims, Abby. He's going that well. He's taking over as the next captain also of the Richmond Football Club. It's a superstar backman, Nathan Broad. Hello, Broady.
Jay-Z, how are you? Abs, good to see you as always.
Great to see you, mate. I'm serious about this captaincy, mate. You're showing a leadership and a maturity out there on the field. I can detect it. People just gravitate to you. They listen to you. So we're going to prize your football mind in 2 seconds.
Because I'm the only older bloke out there at the moment. The rest of them are injured.
Well, I didn't want to say that, mate, but that's certainly part of it. It's Abbey Holmes, the queen of our screen. She gets all the best interviews across the weekend, every weekend for Channel 7. Good morning to you, Abby.
Good morning. It is great to be here with you on a Monday morning to dissect some pretty epic AFL footy action over the weekend.
And some big stories too.
Yeah.
The Western Bulldogs just burning away nicely over there in the western suburbs. And Tom Hawkins, one of the greatest goal kickers the game has ever seen. He hasn't kicked a snag over the past month. He's going to be eyeing off Asava Radigalau against Port Adelaide, his former teammate this weekend. We're also going to speak about the carnage at Brisbane, Melbourne and the Bombers. Is the lid off at Tullamarine? They win this weekend. I think they're going to make September. Could win their first final for a very long time. But Broady at Tigerland, unfortunately didn't get the chocolates against Fremantle. In fact, they did it pretty comfortably in the end. What was it, about 50 points? What's happening inside the four walls there at Punt Road, mate? You've got the new coach. You haven't been getting the wins, but you've been having a bit of a crack. What's your read?
Yeah, obviously injuries is part of it, but the other part of it is young boys get games in, which is good. And then it's just up to the leaders, I think, to show these young boys, fast track them as quick as possible, because reality is they've got to play and got to get games into them. So we need the leaders to show them the way and quickly fast track them. But inside the four walls, it's optimistic. Like we know where we're at. We got injuries, but the boys are showing up with pressure, which is all you can ask. They're having an effort and a crack. Just the polish and the system stuff. Continuity, obviously, we're not getting much continuity at the moment. So we have great patches in games, but we can't play 4 quarters at the moment, which is reality. And we need to be honest with our reviews and honest with our training and stuff, which we are. We're not just copping losses and moving on next week. We're reviewing it and having a tough conversation.
Was the coach been giving you, have you copped the bake from Uze yet?
We actually haven't.
First?
You just touched on it, though, the pressure. You just said off air that you're top 3 over the last few weeks in your pressure. So if you're Adam Uze, you certainly can't fault the effort and the intent of the playing group.
Yeah, I think it was Port Adelaide, which is a while back now. We produced our lowest pressure in about 9-10 years at our footy club, which is inexcusable, really. There's no, pressure's one thing. You pull the jersey on, you sign a contract to, I'm going to have a crack. So pressure's one thing that you can't argue. Doesn't matter if you've got a 300 game or a first game, you can apply pressure still. So we had a pretty rough week that week after Port Adelaide and some home truce, and ever since then our pressure's been up, and we've been over 2 for a lot of quarters, which is like through the roof. So younger boys are having a crack, but yeah, we just can't play for 4 quarters at the moment. And reality is we're not good enough at the moment, and we're going to keep working on it and keep showing up.
What about your boy Lafau? We've all been very impressed with him, haven't we? Just a kid from New Zealand who's come over in his debut game. What did he have, 175 tickets or something crazy? But he has been very impressive for you in your forward half.
Yeah, well, if there's something to look at this, the injury list is good stories come out of it. Morris Rioli's playing his best footy. And Lafau, no disrespect to McKelty, he's probably not playing if Lynchy and Bolter are playing week in, week out. So we see him play now, and I knew he was good, but I didn't realise he was this good. And without him, we'd be stuffed, to be honest. He's just showing up on the best defender every week. He's having a crack. He puts in a lot of effort, and he's kicking some goals too. So his family's awesome too. They just keep rocking up. He had 175 on debut, but I still reckon he's getting 40 to the game now. So they flew to Perth. They flew to Adelaide.
Love that.
He's an absolute ripper.
Do you get a few of your troops back next week?
Yeah. The sun's coming up a little bit. We got Dion back this week, hopefully. Noah Bolter's back, hopefully.
Awesome.
Jack Graham's a chance. So we're slowly, I think on the weekend, touchwood. I haven't spoke to the club much, but touchwood, I think we got through unscathed. So first week, probably this whole year, to be honest, we've got through unscathed. So hopefully, there's a bit of ray of light at the end.
You've got the Western Bulldogs, however. Now, I'm not sure if you were much of a yo-yo fan, Brody, as a kid, but we used to give the good Duncan yo-yo a real good go in the schoolyard. Now, they are the Western Bulldogs, mate. They are down one week, they are back up the next week, and they were absolutely crap against Hawthorn yesterday, so that means you'd think they'd likely spike against you blokes this weekend. They're a fascinating story, the Western Bulldogs. Are they the most inconsistent football team of the past 5 years? That's, to me, what it looks like. I mean, since their premiership, they played that incredible September, and they rebuild a little bit or change the list, and then you look at this season, you look at last season, missed the 8. The year before that, they made the finals, got beaten by Fremantle the first run, and everyone talks about Luke Beveridge and whether he's the right man. But I reckon some of the players too have got to put their hands up to some degree, because I think, I don't know, do they get a bit of an out, Abby? Like, at one point we look at these lists and we go, jeepers, look at this as Bontempelli, and look at the forwards and the midfield talent, McRae, etc.
Yeah.
But they come up against the Hawthorn side, who were on average 2 years younger. Like, Hawthorn are bottom 4. Western Bulldogs, even they admitted they've got a top 4 list. Like, where should the finger be pointed in this whole Western Bulldogs melee?
Well, you just touched on it. The list that this Western Bulldogs have is one of the most potent in the league, but they're just the most inconsistent side in the competition. Their best is very good, but unfortunately, we're probably seeing more of their worst to start season 2024. But the onus does need to go on the players. There's only so much that a coach can say and do to be able to get you ready for game day. And outside of probably Bailey Dale and Marcus Bontempelli yesterday, we didn't see much from their senior players in particular. But you look at that forward line, Brody, you can probably speak to this about how potent they are with Norton, Jamara Ugle-Hagan. They've got so many threats across the ground, but for some reason there is something that simply is not clicking with this team.
Yeah, I think I was spewing yesterday when I saw the scoreline. They went down to Hawks, so they're going to be fired up this week against us. We've got them on Saturday night, so it's going to be tough. But yeah, you do go through patches when you've got your best team out there and something's just not right and not clicking. And I don't know, we've been through patches like that when we've had our best 22 on the park and it just doesn't work. And eventually one day it does click. So they do have the list. They've got some absolute weapons in their lineup. And if it does click, they'll be all right. But hopefully it just doesn't click this Saturday night.
But it was a credit to Hawthorn as well. They basically dismantled their ability to run that footy off half-back, to rebound. Hawthorn absolutely smacked them on turnover, on transition.
I thought the way Hawks played the last 3-4 minutes for a younger group, like it was unbelievable.
What did you see? What do you mean?
Like I think every team would do it, but you go into scenarios when you're up or when you're down, and you got to execute these things, and it's hard to do when you're up or you're down. And when you're up, you obviously want to keep the ball in tight. Don't let it out into open space.
Shut it down.
Shut it down a bit. And the younger players were just doing, like, they nailed it to a T. They weren't like getting hold of the ball, but just enough to get another stoppage. They were keeping it
Pretend
wide.
like you're trying to get it
Yeah,
out.
yeah. the old Draper jump on it. But I thought they absolutely nailed that last 3 minutes. And for a younger group, you could easily just get overwhelmed and let the Dogs kick 1-2 and win. But I thought it was, awesome by the young Hawks.
Well, that's where Dogs are so potent at scoring from stoppage, so they needed to do that, didn't they? They just needed to shut it down. They needed to lock the footy down. But as I said, I think it was 9 goals that the Hawks were able to kick off turnover.
Yep.
So Sicily forward.
Yeah, Sicily forward in the last quarter. He was banged up. There is no doubt about that. That right shoulder was dislocated. It was very gross. When he walked past me, I was about a metre from him as he went down to the rooms. And then to come back on the ground, great. But then the left foot injury as well.
Yeah.
And you listen to Sam Mitchell in his post-match address just saying that was a credit to him in the way that he managed that. He brought Hardwick and he brought Sicily together and said, what do you want to do? Yep, let's switch it up. Let's put Sis out of full forward. And ultimately, he was the one that kicked the match winner. So a really good move there by the Hawks.
Not sure how the Wizard Watson missed from about 6 metres out, though.
Oh, and Sis gave it to him too.
At midnight after a good old session at the Sporting Globe. There's no doubt about that. So how he missed, I'm not sure. Can you just take us back 1 second, Brody? We talk about Beveridge and the connection and the investment, etc. Did you know when Dimmer pulled the pin after the Essendon loss last year, did you sense that could happen? Did you have any idea? And did that connection or investment, did he still have the playing group? Because you look at the question at the Western Bulldogs is, does Bevo still have the boys, right?
Yep.
So did Dimmer still have you? And can you take us back to that moment? Did you suspect that that was starting to waver at all?
He probably sprayed us one game, bit different to usually. I think it was maybe after the Gold Coast game. He sprayed, Essendon game.
Oh, the Spuds.
Yeah.
You got beaten by those pack of Spuds?
Yeah,
or
that
something
game.
like that?
He absolutely gave it to us that game, which was very unlike Dimmer.
Yeah.
So you kind of thought...
Your radar went up?
Yeah, radar went up a little bit, but the group's still, like, he's your coach at the end of the day, and we're invested heavily in the game plan and Dimmer.
Yeah.
But you probably don't know what you've got until it's gone, kind of, and when Dimmer gone, fresh voice, couple of new young assistants came in, and Newman and Jack Siebel. So it obviously was a fresh voice and fresh ideas and tweaks to the game plan. So sometimes it can work, sometimes it can't. It's hard to say, but
in hindsight, do you think you needed that? Do you look back on that in 12 months, like now 12 months afterwards ago? We probably
yeah.
And
like
Dimmer made the right call.
I think he made the right call, especially if he knew he couldn't be fully invested in a footy club like Richmond. Well, then I think that's a fair call, and it's a
good awareness.
Good awareness by a coach. Like, it'd be a tough thing to do. I haven't been in that position, but I'd say it'd be very tough to stand down as a head coach of Richmond Football Club and say I'm not the man for the job. And the credit to him, like, he was able to do that. To put the club in what he thought was a better spot for the footy club and for Damien Hardwick as a person. And he was burnt out. Obviously, he's gone on to coach, but he was just burnt out at Richmond, and he needed a fresh idea, fresh group, and stuff. And he's up there now with a young group and obviously thriving. So,
what are you getting at with this?
Oh no, I just think it's an interesting sort of situation, the Kennel, where at what point does the club assess the Bulldogs and the coach and say, right, we can improve this, or at what point does you put your hand up and you go, well, maybe we need a fresh voice, which is something that you guys literally went, like, you couldn't respect him anymore. Am I right?
Exactly, yeah,
you would love
100%.
the man.
Yeah.
He's helped guide you to an incredible career.
Yeah.
You come from Swan Districts, pick 45 or whatever you were, like, you're a premiership star. You would be so grateful, but it's just interesting when do you get to that point that, no, actually this is over now. And that's a really hard call, and maybe the Bulldogs are there. Maybe they are. As I said, some of them are playing the most inconsistent football. They're arguably the biggest underachievers we've seen in some time. Yeah. So you just think in the back minds of the board members and the executive, are they getting to that point? It's a really difficult call, and you've lived it. You've lived it, I guess, is why we ask. Anyway, good luck against the red, white, and blue this weekend.
Yes,
we'll be cheering for you.
Fired up, I'm sure. So it'll be good.
What about the and you'll get? Do you normally get Jamara or Norton, or who do you normally get?
Jamara last time I played, he got me actually. Jamara last time, he's a bloody gun. So it depends if we'll play. Hey,
that was it. Marvel,
yeah.
They smoked you in the first quarter.
Yeah, Bontempelli was just putting it on a dime for the forwards.
It's at the G on Saturday though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the G. So hopefully it's a different story. But
Jamara, now you're on my turf.
Yeah, hopefully.
A few kilometres down the road.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, good luck at that. As you said, they are a potent forward line, so you'll have your work cut out. There's no doubt about that. What about the Tomahawk? Hasn't kicked the goal in the past month, playing more up the ground. Is that a thing? Are key forwards playing higher up the ground, or have I made that up? Because Tomahawk seems to be playing up a bit, and then Jeremy sort of comes back in the space behind, or the small, the swarm. There's an great article in the Herald Sun on Sunday. Are you noticing that the big guys play up the ground a bit, or am I making that up?
I'm noticing more what Jeremy Cameron's doing in the game, more like kind of like a player that doesn't really play a position. They just got a license to go, wherever they want, really. I'm trying to think who else does it at another club, but you've just kind of got a role to float around, like Brad Hill kind of for the Saints.
Yep.
He'll get kicks up at one end of the ground, then he's kicking goals the next thing. And it's tough for defenders and team system to pick that player up because you're thinking, is he a forward? Is he a mid? Is he a back?
You start counting heads.
Yeah, and you do. You get a little bit like sidetracked. And Jeremy Cameron's doing that for Geelong, and he's having an unbelievable season. But as for Tomahawk, I'm not sure if key forward's getting too high. I know at Richmond we're probably not, but we're more of a get your half forwards up the ground.
Well, Cats have had to shake things up, haven't they? And credit to Chris Scott. We've been singing his praises over the first couple of months of this season, but. Interestingly, Ollie Henry has been their number one target inside forward 50 this year.
Yep.
So it's a credit to them. You know, Hawk has been a sensational goal kicker for a very long period of time. What did he win? 11 straight goal kicking awards at the Cats or something crazy like that. But he doesn't need to kick goals for the Cats to be successful, and that's what I'm really enjoying about this Geelong side this year.
Now, who in this room has kicked 100 goals in a season before?
I don't know.
Anyone kicked 100 goals,
Your
training
career?
games.
Abby, you're the only one who has. So, what, are you seeing anything in him? Is he out of? Steve Johnson said yesterday he's out of form. Are you seeing anything off the? Not as much pace off the mark potentially.
Oh, look, he's getting older. There's no doubt about that. We can't expect from what is in mid-30s what we saw from him in his mid-20s. That's just a natural part of life.
Yep.
And if Geelong have lost one game with Hawkins not kicking a goal,
exactly right. But that's what I mean. Like Ollie Henry's their number one target inside 50. That's exciting to me.
If he does start kicking goals, well, then they go up again. So it's scary.
And if Hawk's playing a different role, if he is up the ground a little bit more rather than that, lead up, hit up, full forward kind of player, then he is learning a different role and slotting into the system, a different system in season 2024. So I think it's a positive thing, really.
Still a potent forward half.
Absolutely.
Is this his last year? The Tom Hawk, not sure. As I say to my 5-year-old, teamwork makes the dream work.
And don't forget, he was kicking, 3-4 goals not that long ago as well. So he's certainly still up and about.
We jump off quickly.
We do.
Especially once they hit 35. Melbourne, I tell you what, if the D's can beat, nice win. So they restrict that Geelong forward half, keep them to a low score. Simon Goodman gets the chocolates. The Demons win a nice game over Geelong. But now they've got Carlton. So this is probably the most difficult fortnight of their season. And Broady, if the D's could knock off the Blues, having just beaten the Cats, if they get up this weekend, does that make them the premiership favourite? Like that wouldn't they have genuine claims to be the team to beat?
They'll definitely be up there. Yeah. Obviously you got MCG. Most finals are played at the G, so that's obviously a factor for them. I think this is going to be a great game because Carlton's obviously got Mackay and Curnow, and Melbourne's got Lever and May. So it'll be a battle of the big blokes. Whoever gets on top there, I think, will win the game. So I'm excited. They had great games on the weekend. May and Lever, they're absolutely dominating at the moment.
I've heard they watch your tapes and just try and pick up a few tips.
What don't to do?
What not to do?
Yeah, don't do that. No.
Oh, no, you're outstanding at that. What about Brisbane, Abbey?
Oh, my goodness.
The injury carnage, I'll rattle them off quickly. So McCarthy suspected ACL. Dizzy Gardner suspected ACL. 2 in a game, honestly. They crossed some black cats or under ladders or something. Answorth concussion, and then Starcevic before the game with a calf meant Logan Morris had to play 2 games in a day. Quite extraordinary. Pretty brave to hang on in the end, the Lions, I thought.
Absolutely. 2 rotations left. But let's just run through the timeline of events, right? So Starcevic, very, very last minute out, like as late as you could possibly be. He's out. That means Sharp comes in, who was in the sub position. And then, of course, Logan Morris comes in. Yeah. But he had just played VFL footy, ran 13 Ks, did not have his boots at the Gabba, had to borrow Will Ashcross, which were too small.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Like, this is a crazy story for Morris in particular. But my concern, if Link McCarthy and Gardner are ACL injuries, where do you see Brisbane finishing? Because in my mind...
No, they can't win it. They can't win it.
No, they'll be outside the top 4.
Yep. No, they need to, if you're going to win a flag from interstate, I think you're going to finish in the top 4, and that takes a massive chunk out of their forward line with McCarthy and Gardner. McCarthy, very talented and crafty goal kicker. So I can't see them winning, but I think, you can have this sort of down year. We saw the Cats last year, didn't we, Broady? I mean, they missed the finals, and all of a sudden they're the team to beat this year again, so or thereabouts. So I think it's going to be really tough for them to do any damage here for the Lions. They were slow out of the blocks, and these injuries. Does it have an effect on the group, Broady? Like when you have players like Gibkiss, when you go down, like does it flatten? It would have an impact, wouldn't it?
Did you see Lockie Neal's reaction as well when Gardner went down? He was shaking his head. Like the players feel it.
Well, knees are horrible. Like
absolutely,
it's instant 12 months. There's no way around it. Like 12 months in any sport, doesn't matter if you're playing juniors, basketball, like 12 months out of sport is a long time. I just wish there wasn't knees. And there just seems to be more and more. We've got 2, Judson Clark, Gibkiss, they've got 2 now. It just seems like there's more and more ACLs, which I'm no doctor and I don't even reckon doctors know why there's more ACLs. It is what it is. They're just freak accidents. But it does, like Gibkiss for us obviously took a toll on us because he missed 12 months and he's come back and he's awesome. He's training up the house down and then he misses another 12 months. Like they're the stories that you like. And Judson Clark did his knee in his draft year So he missed 12 months there. So he's done 2 ACLs now too. So they're the ones that really kill you because, these poor blokes have had one after the other and you just wish they could get a good run at it.
I just want to mention Dane Zorko. 40 disposals last night, 16 marks, 8 score involvements, 858 metres gained. Like, this is a senior player for Brisbane Lions who, over the past few years, you'd say has been a little bit up and down. But what we've seen from him across the start of the 2024 season, this is a player who's just giving his all week in, week out. He's so important to this side, particularly with a number of injuries across the board now. But to have 40 disposals yesterday, to really, I guess, galvanise the group after so many injuries is such a terrible start to the game. From half-time, he was crucial.
There's a bit of a subplot there, obviously.
Well, we took.
He's battled there with Miller. He hasn't won a Q Clash medal, I think, so maybe Dane was keen to pocket one of those. I'm not so
That's
sure.
a month of footy for me.
Hey?
That's a month of footy for me. 40 touches, couple of goals, whatever it was.
No, you're magnificent. Hey, we'll finish off shortly. What about the Bombers? So they beat the Eagles in a tight one. Zach Merritt is a genuine chance to win the Brownlow. He's having his best season, and the move to make him captain from Essendon looks like it is an inspired choice because he is playing incredibly well as Essendon hang on without Sam Draper, so he gets into trouble with the with the club and with his coach. For saying that all the players want to leave the Western Bulldogs. Come on, Sam. But then didn't play because he's got some knee issues. So he might come back in this week. Now, they got GWS. Now, just riddle me this for 1 second. If they beat GWS, so they're on 22 points so far, including that draw with Collingwood on Anzac Day. So what is it? 5 wins they've got already. If they beat GWS, they got 6. Then they got North Melbourne. That should be a tick. They got the Tigers, which will be a very tough game, Broady. But they got Gold Coast after that, who didn't make finals. And then Carlton. I think if they beat GWS this weekend under the lid at Marvel Stadium, they play finals, the Bombers. Giving them their first chance to win one in September in 20 years. So there are no excuses for Essendon. If they can match it with GWS on a fast deck, play North Melbourne the week after, that'll give them 7 wins. Surely they couldn't butcher it from there.
Absolutely. And I'm a big fan of the Bombers and what they're doing this year. What I think we've seen in the past is that if things haven't been going perfectly for Essendon, they can't win games of footy. Whereas this year,
They're in it.
they're in it. They're winning games even if it looks ugly.
Defending better?
Defending better. Their midfield, as you just said, Zach Merritt on the weekend, 29 touches, 3 goals, 1.
He's having some season.
He is having some season.
Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying watching Brad Scott's men go out there week in, week out. And it's probably more of that consistency piece that we've needed to see with them. And they've certainly showed that in the first couple of months.
They have been inconsistency. And you know what, Abby, when the expectation does come on the Essendon Football Club, that's when they're buckled in the past. So maybe this is the time for the Essendon Football Club to stand up to some of that expectation, etc. It's going to be a beauty of a game up against GWS, who we must say one of the best sides in it this year. Nathan Broad, fantastic work from you. Absolutely good luck.
It's been a while. It's been a few weeks,
Yeah,
but
we've
it's good to
missed
be back.
you.
I know the schedule's not allowed me to come in, but always good to see you both.
Any fresh ink lately, by just looking
No,
at your
I'm
left
done
arm?
now.
No?
I'm a
That's
dad
it?
these days and got no time for ink and all that stuff. So
You've
no,
had
I'm
your
done.
last tattoo.
Yeah, last tattoo, yep.
Did your
Yep,
missus
so-
come down on you? Mum, I said, Nathan.
No, just, no
got-
time, not interested anymore.
Have you got
I've got
some
enough.
Myra in there somewhere?
I do, yeah, just under,
Oh,
under
beautiful.
the arm here. So,
Love that.
yeah,
Well done.
footy trip tattoo.
All right. We might get to that on the next episode, the next time you're in. Abbey Holmes, fantastic as always. Thanks so much for joining us on Footy Talk. Footy Talk is your place for the latest news, interviews, analysis from the world of AFL. Give us a like, give us a review, particularly if it's positive. And tomorrow, Lee Montagna and Nick Rewalt, the St Kilda Mafia, will be back to take you through all the Tuesday stories. Until then, bye for now.